racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE, prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Heaven or hell, I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but earnings.
All in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets. The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
What is happening with Tony that has all of you pinballing, moving away from him a little bit, trying to get out of his way?
Dan, here's the thing.
Not me.
It's very exciting, Dan, because I love the XFL, obviously, and we start doing the draft. Shout out to DraftKings, our partners at DraftKings, by the way. We've moved on from doing NFL stuff to now doing XFL stuff.
Stop for just a second. Just stop for a second, because you are revving really high. I have a friend, who decided to go
99 BPM, by the way, on my watch. It's high. I'm usually in the 60s, Dan. I'm a very tranqui-tropi kind of guy, but 99 is that. I'm actually feeling a little,
I need
Go
you
ahead.
To your friend?
I need you to stop.
Okay.
You're revving kind of high, and my friend in January was not smoking and was not drinking for the month.
Sounds like me.
And this
It's a bad
is
month.
the point I'm going to make. If you just let me, we just started.
No, yeah, for sure. Drink some water. Go ahead.
We just started nationally, and I'm trying to get the show off the ground, and you are revving really high. And what I was going to say about my friend, we've all noticed that he has stopped drinking and smoking because he is hair trigger agitated, moving very fast, and he just won't chill out. What is going on with you that you are pinballing off of the walls around here?
I wouldn't say pinballing off the walls. I'd say just regular energy.
You got the knee bounce going thing, where it's below the
a
knees
hot
bouncing.
in here too. I might have to take off my jacket. It is a little warm. Yeah.
Please do.
No, what I was gonna say was we do an XFL pool. Mike and the boys and everybody in the XFL chat. We do a. Hold on, taking off the jacket. It's hot. We do a pool, and I came in last, upsettingly. I had a lot of guys who I didn't know. Lucky Jackson killed me this week. Huh?
How's that possible? You know so much about football.
I know, but apparently nothing about the XFL, which is an issue. So I had to do a chug. In Mike's league, you got to do a chuggy. Either Terramana, because of the Rock's affiliation with the alcohol in the XFL. What else, Mike? You have to do
one that we won't mention because it's not a corporate sponsor, but it was a former XFL league sponsor, or a shoey of any beverage because we respect.
I thought about doing that for a second, Dan. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because I'm not a big caffeine guy either. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I don't drink a lot of cafecito. I don't do a lot of caffeine in the mornings. I do take a little supplement of caffeine once in a while.
Then you do take caffeine.
Yeah, but not in huge doses. And I just basically took this one to the face.
Yeah, he took the Rock's energy drink because he's sober and he's just...
My hands aren't, can't stop shaking.
Can you guys tell me something about this energy drink? The Rock.
It's excellent, Dan. It's a very good energy drink.
Can you guys
Cherry limeade, great flavor, by the way.
Also, get me a list of all of the Rock's endorsements because I'd like to know what it is, how much he has his hands in, because his life seems like a real literal consumption. But speaking of the XFL, which we have been speaking of much too much lately, Billy, why were you saying that A.J. McCarron's an idiot?
Oh, because he is. I mean, I wouldn't have. I don't think I said it that way. I wouldn't say
You did.
it like
I'm
that.
quoting you directly. You were.
When did I say that? I don't remember.
It was in the hallway near the commissary.
Can I retract it? Can I like downgrade to a dum dum?
Okay.
Possibly.
But why were you complaining about A.J. McCarron?
Well, because A.J. McCarron had like a cushy backup job in the NFL where he was making like $4 million or $6 million or something like that. And then he quit that to go play in the XFL. so this dumb kid could watch him play football. And then Chris actually pointed out the kid was probably on an iPad the whole time, not even watching. So why did you do that, AJ McCarron?
He wanted to play.
No.
He wanted his sons to see him play football.
Right.
He was making $4 million. He took a 98.5% pay cut down to $60,000.
Because he'd be the backup, not playing.
What's wrong with being a backup?
That's safer. By the way,
I get that. I get him being like, "Oh, I want my kid to see me play." But I'm with you, Billy. The kid's not paying attention to that game. Come on.
In the cushy post-game interview, he said, "It's a great living. I'm honored to do it, but I just wanted to see my kids to watch me play."
That kind of brings us to the Carson Wentz discussion. Like a guy like Carson Wentz gets cut from the Commanders. Should he go be a back? Because he'd be a good backup instantly.
Well,
or do you go to the XFL and just be the best player in the league history?
Why would you do that?
Stugotz came in here today with a life philosophy that isn't exactly from the Anthony Robbins school of self-help and isn't the winner's motto that you get throughout sports. In regards to Carson Wentz, Stugotz offered the following life philosophy.
Embrace the clipboard. I'm serious. It is the greatest job anywhere in sports. $4 million a year. You don't get hurt. Everyone loves you. Everyone wants you to come in. Occasionally, you have to come in. If you make a couple of big plays, they love you even more. If you don't, you go back to the bench, you hold a clipboard, you earn $4 million a year. Carson Wentz needs to stop trying to be a starting quarterback in the NFL and start trying to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. Dan, you can do it forever. Chad Henne just did it. $4 to $5 million a year. He was called upon once. 98-yard touchdown drive. What a great lifestyle. Not injured, not hurt. You make a ton of money. You could do it forever. Why would Carson Wentz not want to do that?
Henne just retired. Or not Henne. Who are we talking about?
Yeah, we were
Chad
talking
Henne
about
retired.
Chad Henne.
He went out on top.
Good contribution. Chrs Cote, go sit in the penalty box.
Wow.
I'm sorry. He has
Mike.
to go, though. He's got to go.
Just go. Get out of
So
here.
Taylor Heineke has said he wouldn't mind. He'd like to start, but he wouldn't mind being a backup for those exact reasons. It's a cushy job. It's an easy job. Chris Sims has told us that, Billy, that he loved holding a clipboard. And so all I'm saying is embrace the clipboard.
Well, and Stugotz, occasionally, then you have an injury to the starting quarterback. You have a big season, then you get a monster deal.
Right.
If I can just rewind a touch here, okay? Because it's not just that he's embracing the idea of don't compete, be a rich person who doesn't compete.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so is AJ McCarron, by the way. He's embracing don't compete. It's let me go to a lower level so I can be a star because I can't hang in the big league.
Also, there's like 77 quarterback injuries every year. He's going to end up playing somewhere in the NFL if he just waits for 2 weeks.
I just need to address a portion of this before we address the A.J. McCarron portion of this, which is Stugotz not realizing that the clipboard's not a thing anymore in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know when it got put aside. But that's not the way they're doing it anymore. And I've got to imagine the clipboard industry in general isn't doing very well because I
had its best year ever last year, Dano.
I don't believe that the clipboard. I believe that clipboard owners and business people who run clipboards are saying we're in real trouble here. I don't think the clipboard is going to maintain its popularity. I think it's endangered. But your larger point is, just collect a check and never actually test your skills against anybody.
He's had so many chances. At some point, you have to realize, hey, you know what? I had a flash as a rookie with the Eagles. Nick Foles came in, won a Super Bowl. I am not that good at this, okay?
Oh.
I have had multiple chances on multiple teams, and it's time to just resign myself to being a backup. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with being the guy that comes in when the guy gets hurt. I mean, that's...
Great college career, probably a college football Hall of Famer at some point if he isn't already.
Yep.
For sure, he's going to be in the Hall of Fames of, like, you know, rivalries and all that stuff. So,
Carson Wentz?
No, we're talking about AJ McCarron, aren't we?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Go and join Chrs Cote.
Oh, wow. No,
I'm not
man.
Certain, I'm not certain who should join there.
Different folks.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Right, you're right.
it was that SI cover that
Very cool
asked
mention,
genuinely, is AJ McCarron the greatest college football quarterback of all time?
It's a gack, yeah.
That's-
Tommy Frazier, but
I would say Joe
Yeah.
Burrow.
Joe Burrow, huh?
Tebow was good in college.
Tebow, Burrow,
Cam.
Cam.
Yeah, Cam was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frazier's great. Frazier's great.
Right.
But
the college quarterback is different than the pro quarterback, where a guy like Eric Crouch could be in that conversation. Now, he's not. I kicked him out of the Heisman house before, but guys like Turner Gill, Tony Rice, Tommy Frazier
Jason
are,
White.
oh my God, Tebow are certainly in that conversation.
yeah, well, Tebow is in the conversation. He's one of the first three names that you say, but you can be, Joe Burrow showed us that you can be in the conversation. You call him the best quarterback in the pros.
Yep.
Some people call him the best college football quarterback ever, and they have a strong argument.
Tony, would you agree with that, Burrow?
Yeah, Burrow. The thing is, he had such a good season that one year was
such
so
great
incredible.
One year wonder.
Yeah, but
No,
I
I
mean,
don't like
he
that.
went from a school to
Chase
another
Jefferson.
school.
I know.
up
Stick at
the-
one school.
And
Stick at one
Chase.
school.
You
Oh,
said
wow.
that? Steve Morton.
Yeah, you should go out and sit with
Yeah, see you.
Oh,
Steve. Sorry.
no.
Sorry.
I thought you said
no.
Justin Jefferson.
I said Jefferson and Chase.
Yeah.
I know, but
Combo.
No, but I'm sorry, man. We can't have different strokes for
Randy
different
Moss
folks.
Jr. too,
Yeah.
a tight end.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I would say that he's got a lot to be proud of in his
Oh, look
career.
at this.
He's got a lot to be proud of in his career. That SI thing and publicly not a great look for the commentator, but everyone knows who his wife is, and you know he's very proud of that.
Are we talking about AJ McCarron?
Yeah, I'm talking about AJ
Yeah.
McCarron. But
just make
I
sure.
like that he didn't need the money and he just wanted to go and show out for his family, and
He
that's
can always go back too. Like,
yeah, well, he's got to be in demand if he keeps playing this way. Although it's weird, the AJ McCarron experience, he hasn't been good, but the last 90 seconds of a game, all of a sudden, the guy becomes Joe Montana. It's very odd. He's been terrible.
I just sat down in Stugotz's chair and I'm looking at things he's Googled throughout the show. One of them, a couple of animal news. So for the Ron McGill segment, he was looking up. And the most recent thing, clipboard sales.
how they doing?
They're killing it.
Wow.
Wow.
He
What
knew
was
it.
the website?
Clipboards.com.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't believe that
Checks
actually
out, yeah.
checked out. Yeah. But I think it's admirable. Yeah, you just like taking the piss out of all of this XFL stuff. I think that's one of the heartwarming stories.
Who does?
You.
Me? How so?
Yeah.
All the piss.
You used
took
to be
it-
a
you took
major
the piss out of
Guardians
it.
guy.
It's-
You used to love it. Is this because the XFL has broken your heart too many times?
No, I was an Orlando Rage guy.
Don't you want?
Oh, yeah.
Don't you want piss taken out of something?
You don't want it to stay inside of you. That'll lead to complications.
Right. That's what Billy's
Yeah,
doing.
That's
Yeah.
Billy.
That's very true.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, if we're really thinking about family,
Right.
I mean, long term, and I don't want to go down this path. I don't want to go down this path, but long.
Just because you say it twice, you think you're not going to go down the
I
path?
want to emphasize, I don't want to go down this path. I'm kind of being forced down this path.
You can bail
lot of
on it
paths.
right
No,
now.
I
if you
can't.
want.
We're in too deep.
He's
And
on the path
I owe
now.
it to the audience to continue down this path that I don't want to go down. If AJ McCarron was really worried about, his kids seeing him play, it's safer to stay in the NFL where he's not getting hit. In the XFL, he could get injured at any moment.
Paid a lot more to not play in the NFL.
Yeah.
So you're making
safer.
the argument that he doesn't appreciate his children.
Exactly right. I didn't want to. I was led down that path.
You guys have, some of us have kids of that age, 5, 6 years
I'm
old.
Ron Burgundy.
I don't know whether or not your
Mine is 5.
daughter is 5 or 6 years old.
Chris has a dilemma with his daughter.
Yeah, she's she told me she has a crush on a kid from her school. I don't know how to feel about
I
that.
think this happened with Roy recently too, didn't it?
Yeah, different circumstance. I watched the Maple Leaf Sabres game, and she yelled from the living room, "He is handsome." I was cooking. I walked out of the kitchen. I asked, "Who's handsome?" Him. She pointed at PK Subban.
Ah,
I was like, "Oh no," because this is the first time that she ever commented about the looks of a boy. So now I'm nervous and now I'm scared now.
You guys are saying that AJ McCarron's 6-year-old son isn't paying attention during the games, and that AJ McCarron is making a sacrifice for his son that is actually for AJ McCarron's
Ego.
romantic vision of what fatherhood is, that his son's not going to remember this, not going to appreciate it, and can check it out on YouTube in a few years from their mansion that will be much nicer and his bedroom that will be much nicer because he's got an NFL salary.
Yak, yeah.
And that's why he's an idiot or a dum-dum.
Well, no, it's kind of like,
it.
do you want your kid to watch you play football or you want him to go to college, And that's, this is where we're at.
Well, let's go back to Stugotz's assessment, though, because it's not an unpopular opinion to say that the backup quarterback can get very wealthy doing a job that can be pretty easy.
Chase Daniel, 13 years, $42 million, barely been touched.
He knows
Still
where
playing.
his bread is buttered, Dan.
But let's talk about Carson Wentz, who I believe at one point was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Do you think he looks into a mirror with self-awareness, or does he believe I've beaten the odds all my life? I was the number 1 overall pick. No one had this as my story from a small college. I became the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I think it's Stugotz, I think it's harder than you think it is to make the self-assessment of I'm not as good at this as other people, because Carson Wentz has been paid and picked as if he is.
I understand, but being a backup still means you're one of the best, 70 quarterbacks in the world or something like that. And so there's nothing wrong with that. He's just not a starting quarterback.
Well, what do you mean there's nothing wrong with that?
Pays well.
But of course there's something wrong with that. These guys don't get paid to be number 68. He didn't become the highest paid quarterback in football because he was the 64th best quarterback.
I mean, but how many chances do you need as a starting quarterback to realize, to look in the mirror and say to yourself, you know what? I'm a guy who's supposed to hold a clipboard. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's my lot in life. And you know what? That lot in life pays really, really well. And it comes without all the physical injuries and all the harm down the road. It just comes with a lot of money and the occasional 98-yard drive in an AFC divisional game.
But how old is Carson Wentz? Because I don't know what the moment of discovery is when you've been a number 1 pick and the highest paid quarterback at your position. That was probably a pretty good day for Carson Wentz, right? Not just because of the finances of it, because the league was telling him for a moment, you're one of the best. You're not number 68. We're going to pay you as if you're one of the best who throws a football. And I imagine in his self-assessment and where he was drafted and wherever it is that he keeps his self-esteem at a position that it can be hard to week to week to keep your self-esteem, especially the way he was playing the game, which is on his knees, running, tackled at the shins, on his knees, throwing a 6-yard out, and falling on.
Doesn't sound fun, right?
No, it does not. It does not sound fun.
Meanwhile, there was a quarterback making $5 million a year watching him. His name was Nick Foles.
Well,
front row seats, free games.
He actually made $9 million a year.
I also believe, Stugotz, if you watched any Washington football last year, that team hated him. I believe that they wanted Heineke.
By the way, Heineke wants to be a backup. He's perfectly fine with it. He said, listen, I prefer starting, but backup role in the NFL is fantastic, and I'm okay with it.
He's had the best of all the worlds because he was a backup in the XFL as well.
Well, he's had the best of all the worlds because he gets to be the savior. Fitzpatrick resided in this
He's a fun backup, too.
Coming
It's
around.
just fun backup.
Fun backup.
It's guy. I'll
You feel
throw
like
him
you
in
have
there.
a-
Maybe I'll
you have
go
a shot.
2-1. I got a shot to go. 4-3 in 7 games. People say I'm the answer. I'm Cooper Rush. I'm Teddy Bridge.
Boom.
I'm Teddy Bridgewater.
Brock Purdy.
No, there's special tiers for backup. The oh bleep we're screwed tier that most backups exist in.
I thought Jacoby Brissett was in there.
No, he's in the hey, we can win this game. He's fine.
Yeah.
That's the Chad Henne, Jacoby Brissett, or this person will either lose us this game or win us this game. But either way, it's going to be a hell of a ride.
Well,
and that's the Green Lizard tier.
Let's do this purgatory because I have not done this particular tier of quarterbacks. Stugotz loves the tiers of quarterbacks. He shouted tiers of quarterbacks into the chest of Michelle Beadle at ESPN. Wow. I don't think this is a tier that we have done before, though, which is the beloved backup quarterback, the Ryan Fitzpatrick, who will come in and give you a dollop of hope and a little more fun. You're not going to win anything. You're just not. You're going to lose at the end.
You might win a game.
Yeah, you might win a game. You might win 2 games. You might win 4 games.
Yeah, Matt Moore.
You're not winning any of the important games. But this tier Mike is talking about, it's not the tier. This is it's different from the other tier of, oh, we're bleeped.
The Nick Mullins tier.
No, that's a either way it's going to be fun. That's either way it's going to be fun.
No, you guys got to get on the same page here on what it is that these
Nick
guys
Mullins
are.
had a Thursday nighter.
He did have a
Just saying.
Thursday
No,
nighter.
wait a minute.
The
Trevor
Nate
Simeon.
The Nate Sudfeld tier. Yes, you're not winning. I mean,
The Nathan Peterman tier is the.
That's a oh bleep we're screwed.
No, but Mike, you can't do can win you a Thursday night game because the
He
Thursday
almost
night
did.
game. I know, but that's
Almost.
not the Thursday night game is not the fun game.
That game was hilarious. Don't you remember when COVID only impacted the Browns? And after that game, it was like a Tuesday night football. He can win you a random Tuesday night.
I think that rarer than the great quarterback in that league is the quarterback that is the fun backup that gives you a dollop of hope. I think that tier is smaller than the great quarterback tier. I believe there are more great quarterbacks than there are fun backups that give the fan base a dollop of hope.
A dollop of hope would be Colt McCoy, right?
No, not anymore.
Really?
Not anymore. No.
You won him a big game last year.
This guy can win.
He did.
Tyler Huntley's like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Right.
We made a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Pro Bowler.
No, neither one of those.
He is a Pro Bowler.
Where's Kyle Allen in this
Tony
game?
said that he could start for the Ravens and there wouldn't be a drop-off next season.
No, Kyle Allen had 2 games that fooled people. It's the same as the Cooper Rush thing. I'm telling you, this is
Cooper Rushes were good.
Yeah, he held the team afloat.
If we all handle our business, we're going to be fine with Cooper Rush.
Exactly.
But where's AJ McCarron? Because I feel like he's just in the happy to be here bracket. You know what I mean?
I think we're screwed if we have AJ McCarron.
If he has to go in, I'm with
Historically
Mike.
in the NFL, that's where we were.
Full game though, but if it's like the second half and you need him to get a drive going, I think he can do it.
I mean, he's proven that with the Battlehawks.
CJ Beathard.
No
chance.
This is a small group, and this is what Stugotz is asking Carson Wentz to do. He's asking Carson Wentz to go to the bejeweled mirror that he keeps in his bathroom that has a television in it and look into it as the highest paid quarterback in the league once upon a time and look into that mirror and say, you know what I am? I'm a fun backup that gives teams hope. And you know what the mirror says back? No, you're not. You're a we're bleeped backup already, and it happened really fast.
You tell that mirror, I'm Bubby Burster. That's what you do.
Oh,
God tier. That's God tier backup. Where do we put Billy Joe Tolliver?
oh, that's a good one.
Wow.
Bubby Brister is God tier in the fun, give you a little hope category of quarterback.
You'll convince yourself that we can build around this guy. Same thing with Sage.
Mike, that's not the same thing. What you'll convince yourself is something that every fan base can do on every backup quarterback.
Ray Lucas.
You'll convince yourself. The Dolphins convince themselves on Ray Lucas. The fan base can convince itself at every turn on the backup quarterback.
Skylar Thompson was popular in this town for a few weeks.
Oh, did I dream big with Ray Lucas?
Well, let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about Stugotz for a second.
So many moments.
I think Ray Lucas with Bill Parcells won 4 or 5 games at the end of a season.
He was reputed to be a Dolphin killer, and then the Dolphins got him, and he proved it.
Yeah, yes, he did.
He was indeed a Dolphin killer.
That is correct. He threw a lot of interceptions, but I want to examine for a moment. We don't get a lot of opportunities to do what I'm about to do with Stugotz because with the New York Jets, he has over 40 goddamn years really given himself over in investment to a team that always betrays his hope, that always crushes him, that always makes him wonder, why did I ever bother to hope? And the space that Stugotz is presently occupying in emotional fandom, this is a tough one. Not a lot of people in our audience are feeling this right now, which is just enough hope to wait around and see how my franchise is going to screw up this good thing. He is spending his time with it. You don't think you're going to get Aaron Rodgers, correct? Even though that's the only team he's been linked to, even though Bob McGinn, the longtime Packers reporter, is saying that the Packers are disgusted with Aaron Rodgers and are going to move on.
I don't think the Jets somehow, and again, Dan, you're right, I have 40 years of them proving this to me, somehow they're going to screw this up. I believe they have an opportunity to get Aaron Rodgers, but I think not only are they not going to get Aaron Rodgers because they are the Jets, they won't get Derek Carr. I'm not even certain they'll get Ryan Tannehill. They might get Carson Wentz. And they'll start him. I mean, that's unbelievable. Dan, I am so what have the Jets done over my 40 years of fandom that would suggest to me or any Jet fan that they're going to get this right? They've done nothing.
You think Derek Carr, he's visiting Carolina. You are now
Of course he's visiting Carolina. He's waiting for the Jets, and he's only going to wait so long. And the Jets are going to take their time with Aaron Rodgers, and it's going to be too much time, and they're going to end up with neither of those guys. Because by the time Rodgers makes his decision, which is Lord knows when, Derek Carr will have already signed with another football team. And so I'm going to be stuck with a quarterback I don't want. I'm telling you right now. Those are the only two guys I want. Those two or Lamar Jackson. And there's no way they're pulling that one off.
I've done some reporting on this. The Jets in that building, they feel very confident.
I don't care.
They feel very confident that they're getting Aaron Rodgers.
Who does? I mean, who? Whose
Jets.
report is that?
It's Mike Ryan's report.
Who told you, Mike?
Oh, that's how we're doing it.
Okay.
Mike Ryan, for those of you who do not know, he is telling you ad
He's a Jets
nauseum
reporter.
around here. I did not know he was a Jets reporter, but he is selling information on the internet, on Twitter with his super follows, because he is indeed now in the handshaking game of movers and shakers where information travels. I did not know you were now a Jets reporter as well.
Pick up things. I run in some good circles, and this one, it's just people are feeling very confident. I think you can read into Derek Carr meeting with the Panthers. It costs the Jets nothing. I think the weapons on the outside are far more talented with New York than it is for Carolina. If Derek Carr could choose a place, I would choose New
Stugotz,
York.
I think logically, I would assume, based on the way that this is played out, is that if the Jets wanted Derek Carr as their top priority, he'd already be a Jet. You don't meet twice with a team and go through all of that if it's your choice on where it is that you're going to
You're
end
saying
up.
if the Jets felt like they weren't going to get Aaron Rodgers, they would have signed Derek Carr already.
He'd already be their quarterback.
That's my fear, is the Jets think they're going to get Aaron Rodgers, that they're confident. When the Jets are confident, bad things happen.
You think that the music's going to stop and they're going to be left without a chair?
Yes.
But if Derek Carr, if Derek Carr feels the Jets is his best option, he's going to wait around to see.
I think he's waiting
They're
around.
probably saying to him, "Hey, we're trying to do something, but if that doesn't happen, we are signing you." And he's like, "I'll take that."
No one in the history of football has ever waited around for the Jets. You have Derek Carr waiting around for the New York Jets.
Good defense.
spot, man.
Look at all the options he has.
It's a real good spot for Derek Carr.
I know it's a good spot for Derek
And I'd
Carr.
like
better
you
than
guys-
Carolina.
It's way better than
It's
Carolina.
way better. And the Jets, I've said this a million times, Joe Douglas deserves credit for putting together a roster minus the quarterback where that roster is attractive to guys like Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers.
I could talk myself into Carolina, too, by the way. They have a very good defensive line. It's not like they're without weapons over there. It's just the Jets very much seem like they're a quarterback away because they've got talent on both sides of the ball.
Tougher division, though, I guess, if you're looking.
Yeah. I mean, he's coming from the AFC West, though. He's probably looking at the AFC East as a slightly easier division.
If you're Aaron, do you want inside the AFC? You're in the NFC now. It's an easier path.
Well, if you're
You
Aaron,
want that path?
I think
If I'm
the
Aaron,
Green
you
Bay
want
Packers
San
want
Francisco.
you. Yeah.
If I'm Aaron, that's where I want to go.
But the Green Bay Packers
This
probably
is
want
what
you
I'm
in the
worried
AFC,
about. Yeah.
which is how you got Brett Favre. You've literally lived this, where they didn't want to send him in the NFC.
You were saying, Stugotz, that you think that Tom Brady should sign a one-day contract with the Patriots, but are we at 100% positive as I say this that he won't sign a one-year contract with the 49ers?
Oh, I think he is.
Now's usually around the time of year where he starts regretting it, right?
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. He
He
retired.
just filed his papers formally, and he said, I'm not going to do the whole big thing. You only have one of those, but it's around this time of year where he started getting the itch last year, right?
That can't be a real thing, can it?
What, the itch?
We lived it.
I lived it
At
with
South by Southwest.
You're going to
lived
be
it-
fooled by this again?
I lived it with Brett Favre, where he's in front of his locker crying, and then he plays for several more years after that because it's hard to leave the addiction behind. Especially, I would assume that it would be especially hard for Tom Brady. But if you had to guess, Stugotz, what's truer about Tom Brady deciding that he's not actually going to start the Fox contract? You have these three options, I think, and only these three options when it comes to Tom Brady sitting out for a year and not starting to collect on the 10-year, $375 million broadcasting contract that he has with Fox. I would think that the reason for not doing that is you want to spend a year getting very good at that craft. You don't want to start more quickly. And he doesn't strike me as the type who doesn't want to be prepared for whatever an assignment is.
I would agree.
You want to leave open the option to change your mind, even as you've said that you're not going to change your mind, or he just wants a year of rest. Just wants to rest for a year where he doesn't have to be having the pressures of either job.
You know what I'm worried about? I feel like this is going to be like a classic like college gap year thing, and he's going to be like, oh, let me go backpack through Europe for a year, and it's just going to be like constant annoying Instagram and Twitter posts about new things he's trying, and I met this new thing, look at this new place I went. It's like, enough of you, Tom. Because like he's fine now. I think he's fine now. I don't know what you guys think about him. I think he's fine now, right? If he just
What does
went
that
right
mean?
in, he's fine. He's okay. He's not like annoying yet, right? But like if I get a year worth of Tom Brady's every thought in his head and all these new
But don't you
things
think
that
he's
he's
going to
doing,
be? He's got that social media team that evidently is very good. He's interested in
Yeah.
increasing the size and reach of his brand.
yeah, but like I'm fine. Like if we just get into broadcasting and not like here he is going to Machu Picchu, you know what I mean? Like I don't need that from Tom for a year.
Well, what do you guys think is the most probable? I'm just offering you.
Playing.
Tom Brady has decided to sit out a year. Which of those three is the most probable? Stugotz is on record saying it's because he's going to come back. He wants to come back. He always wants to come back.
It'd be so hard to turn down the 49ers. It would be. That team is Super Bowl ready. He's from that area. He loves that team and organization. It'd be hard for me, if I'm him, to turn that down just because they're so close, so talented. They have everything he wants, plus the NFC.
They went 3 months without losing a football game
Right.
with their third string quarterback.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're not going to tell anybody something they don't know when you say that the 49ers are good.
Right.
The 49ers are good. They did it with their third string quarterback. Why would they not also be able to do it with Tom Brady? But why is that considered a real thing from a 45-year-old quarterback who just told you this time it's for real? You guys think that 3 weeks later,
real.
3 weeks later, so it hasn't been that long, a month. He's
That's
like,
how long it took the last time.
no, but he wasn't retiring last time. He was trying to get ownership in the
told us he
Dolphins.
was.
No, he did not tell us. We interpreted it. We got it wrong.
He released a statement.
What Dan is saying is fair.
We
That
got
it
He
was all a
not
charade.
retiring. He was never. You guys have him as somebody who retires serially, and he's not retiring serially. He quit the Bucs and only the Bucs because he was making a power play for the Dolphins.
Right. So
And
you're saying he played everybody once before.
he was never retiring before.
Right. So he could be not retiring this time.
Exactly.
But he said this one was for real.
Oh,
Look,
Jesus.
I understand. I'm just opening your eyes to the possibility
Well,
that he could change his
No,
mind.
but the reason you guys are
like
mentioning
every great quarterback that's ever been torn apart by making this decision.
I'm asking you which of those three is most probable.
There's another option. I saw a story today, Dan, from dailymail.co.uk that sources Radar Online. You ready for this headline? Tom Brady is trying to launch a career as a comic in a last-ditch effort to win ex-wife Gisele Bündchen back. His inner circle is trying to stop him, as football's GOAT considers an extraordinary new job after finally retiring at 45.
That I did not see coming.
Well, hold on. If you read deeper into this article, quote, he does a great impersonation of former teammate Rob Gronkowski in an over-the-top Boston accent. It's hilarious.
He's trying to win his wife back by becoming a comic.
Yeah.
Is what I just heard.
I like it.
I'd go see that show.
Would you? I would. I would go see it.
Would you?
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't we all
You'd
just
have-
to be
you'd-
like, what
you'd-
can this be?
You'd have the seats that you had for Seinfeld so far in the back,
God.
off the back wall. A tiny Tom Brady in an arena filled with 20,000 people telling knock-knock jokes and doing Gronk impersonations.
69.
You guys,
With a Boston accent.
I need more information on. I will not. This is the death of news. If there is a story out there that has any credence to it, that Tom Brady's career reinvention at 45 and midlife crisis to get his supermodel wife back is to have a stand-up career of some prominence.
Ex-wife. That's a fun.
I don't believe that qualifies as a fine, Stugotz.
What do you mean?
I don't believe getting.
No, it's
Adam
finalized.
married.
It's finalized.
Yeah.
I don't think getting a fact
Just
wrong.
misspoke. It's okay.
Getting his wife back through stand-up comedy. What do you guys
Maybe
imagine
she's
the
a fan of stand-up comedy. Who knows?
Well, we're all
You think he
fans
needs
of
an
laughter.
opener? I'll try it.
I thought you were going to do this already.
Nah, I'm working on it.
Chris had Chris had like a very, I thought, strange post on social media this weekend.
Where
that
I compared
saw.
myself to Jerry Seinfeld?
Yes, you compared yourself to Jerry Seinfeld.
I did that kind of ironically, but I did. There was a thing where
What does
Jerry
that mean?
Seinfeld just can't like have any interactions in his life without thinking, where am I going to put this in my show or my stand-up act? Like everything is content to him, and I've kind of gotten to that point where anytime anything happens in my life, I'm like, oh, could that be a bit? What could I put that as something we could talk about? Like it's kind of affected my life, and I'm not comparing myself to Jerry Seinfeld, but it is a thought that I have often, and it annoys my wife. Because I'm always just like, oh, that could be, and she's just like, of course, content. Like my wife doesn't like the word content. I'm just telling you. Anytime like I'm doing something and she's like, what are you? I'm like, oh, content. Like that is a trigger word for her.
Do you ever turn it off?
Exactly.
That's what I
Trust
get.
me. Oh my God. It's a thing, Dan. You've created a monster.
Your wife hates your job and finds annoying her husband.
She doesn't hate my job, but she just,
She just hates you.
I can file a lot of stuff under content. Do I abuse that privilege? Sometimes. Maybe.
Well, like what?
By comparing yourself to Seinfeld.
Well, no, I just like, if I want to watch something, I'll just be like, I got to do this for work. Yeah.
Oh, you're using sports as an excuse.
Well, I do. That's the best part about our job is it's technically not a lie. Like I technically do kind of need to watch.
I got to
the Heat
watch
game.
all 8 hours of Red Zone.
Yeah, I mean,
All 8.
Sundays. I definitely use it on Sunday. I mean,
And
we
Sunday
do
Night
have to talk
Football,
about
too.
football. It legitimately is our job. So, but yeah, on Sundays I got to watch Red Zone. I mean, what do you want from me? It's my job.
Guys, one source said, quote, as a comic, he's strictly a water boy.
That doesn't.
Where is he
seem
working
like
on
a
this act?
Real quote.
Is he just showing up to like the Pompano Beach Improv?
Open mics at some sad brewery.
He's working on material in a kitchen in Cleveland. He's coming out at a some days in Wisconsin. He's coming out and performing in front of 19 people just to sharpen up his act.
That shithole.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze,
His name, of course, is Wade Jones.
All right, let's do this. Tough L last week, 4 for 5 on the season. Here we go. Shit.
All right, time for Who Dat Is. I was like very eager. I grabbed Taylor's like, we got to do this now because Chrs Cote was very excited about it. All right, here we go. Oh no.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing all right. I'm doing all right because I like this game. It allows you to see that I'm actually a sports fan. I've only missed one of these, right, Taylor? All right, let's see who we got. Who's this dude from Purdue? Oh, no.
Can Mike hear this? I'm not going to get it. Okay. I've been informed by many, many people here that I'm not going to get it, including Chrs Cote, Mike Ryan, that guy over there. Let's take a look.
Damn it, man. After 4 for 4 start, this is going to be a loss for me. I have no idea who this guy is. Is he an NBA player? Yeah, college, right? Yeah, definitely college. I have no clue. That's it. Quick. They could have his name under it, and you wouldn't know who it is.
Okay, hoops player because he's got a basketball in his hand.
All right, so I mean, obviously it's a basketball player. It's not Victor Wembanyama. Am I in the like draft prospect realm? Are we in the draft prospect? Or we're in the NBA realm? College, okay. But I have no idea. I don't know what this is.
I think he plays for Purdue. Plays for Purdue.
Pull that out.
He plays.
Watch Purdue play this year.
Not 1 second. I think they're ranked pretty high though. I think we're like number 1 or 2 in the country. Yeah, I can't even begin to say what this guy's name is, but he plays for Purdue 100%. What's his name?
I don't. All right, so this is a college basketball player. He plays for Purdue. He's the best player in the nation. And I'm a big college basketball guy. But he doesn't play in the ACC. And so I don't know his name. Oh, this one hurts. I suck.
This is a college basketball player for Purdue. His name is Zach Edey.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
Get it!
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton.
Guys, Kyle Brady. Get a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good.
I am genuinely fucked up right now.
Stugotz, there are many fair criticisms that have been directed my way over the last few years as we've tried to find our footing around here at Metal Arc Media on the doing of the show. And one of the fairest criticisms is that I over-explain things that don't require over-explanation. My philosophy there has always been that you, and it might be an outdated philosophy, that you always have more people listening to something and hearing it for the first time than you do hearing it for the 10th or 11th or 12th time. So I don't want people to feel excluded around here, even though at the beginning, many people who don't get the show at the beginning need some of those explanations so they stop feeling like outsiders and can feel like insiders. And I don't know, as I see this Brandon Miller pat-down story at Alabama, how many of our listeners are familiar with the details of what happened with Gilbert Arenas, because Gilbert Arenas fairly famously pulled a gun in the locker room, and he wasn't the only one in the Wizards doing that. Javaris Crittenton was also somebody who was now in jail for pulling a gun. The gun that Gilbert Arenas pulled was a gold gun, and the details of this were interesting enough. It was a fairly shocking controversy, but it was 13 years ago, and one of the details that I think gets forgotten because it was so long ago is that Gilbert got in one kind of trouble for actually having the gun in the locker room. He got in the biggest trouble when he came out during introductions doing finger guns, making fun of the scandal that involved him pulling a gun in the locker room. The greater crime was having that kind of fight in the locker room. The public perception of mocking it and not taking it seriously got him in yet further trouble.
Right.
And the thing I wanted to ask you about this Alabama controversy, and I'm imagining a bunch of players who don't have any memory They were too young to remember the details of Gilbert Arenas 13 years ago doing this. But when Alabama finds itself at the center of a controversy where one of their players has killed a woman with a gun, and Brandon Miller is said to have brought that gun, reports are, have brought that gun to the place where a murder took place. When the Alabama coach handles it poorly, Alabama pretty new to basketball success.
Nate Oates.
Yes, Nate Oates is the name of the coach.
He's been making a lot of missteps, right?
A lot of mistakes here. And
this is a pretty bad one.
Well,
here.
but wait a minute. He says this will never happen again. He didn't know it was happening, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when, during pregame introductions, what you have is the star player who's still on the team, not the one who's no longer on the team. And Brandon Miller is not accused of murder, but is at the center of this thing. When, during pregame introductions, he is patted down as if by the police.
Well, to be fair, I've seen this before. It's like a UFC fighter entering the octagon, but the optics of it are so bad. And Nate Oates, initially, when he was asked about this, was defensive and kind of talked through the answer. And he finally smartened up and said, we're just not going to do it anymore. It's been a pregame ritual for them. I think it's a lot closer to the UFC thing than a police officer patting down, but the optics are so bad.
I agree with you that when a UFC fighter goes into the octagon, Stugotz, he is checked for legalities. His body gets checked because he is
not days or weeks removed from being accused of bringing a teammate a gun that resulted in a murder.
Correct.
Those are the bad optics.
That's right.
It was a bad decision. And I'm not buying that Coach Oates had no idea that was going to happen. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
You can accuse everyone of lying here. I'm just talking about the optics and how these things get misconstrued. People are paying attention to Alabama basketball outside of the basketball sphere for reasons that have nothing to do with basketball. And the microscope, the light on it is sharper. And this is how they choose this controversy.
And this player is outstanding.
He's great
for them. And there are basketball reasons to talk about Alabama basketball. They're one of the top 4 teams in the nation.
He is a great player, and it's important to point out, and I think you did so, Dan, that Miller has not been charged with a crime, but police appear to consider him a witness, not a subject.
According to his lawyer, but we don't know all we know is that he's still playing through a controversy that has someone having been murdered by a member of the Alabama basketball team, and he was in the center of having the gun.
I think part of the problem is there hasn't been a fair amount of contrition. That you may argue it's because they feel like they've done nothing wrong, but even from the adults.
But Nate Oates was aggressive about, we do not sit him. He's going to continue playing. Nate Oates is acting as if he knows everything that happened here when he's not someone who knows everything that was happening with his pregame introductions.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's certainly safe to say Nate Oates knows more about the situation than we do, but I think what people want is a fair amount of contrition, even if you know that no one did anything wrong. It's a horrible tragedy to have your program go through, and I think they've been flippant about it. Nate Oates is still kind of, I'm not making an excuse for him because he's the adult in the room, but he's learning how to deal with this, and he's learning so by doing a lot of failing. And I'm not going to hit him too hard because you could see the initial guard up that he had because they feel all alone and they feel like the world's out to get them, and that's how they're galvanizing each other. And as he was talking it out, he realized, oh, shoot, I'm making a mistake here. And he went back on it and said it's never going to happen again.
Should the discussion, though, Dan, be about the pat down, what they did after, or whether or not Brandon Miller should be playing basketball right now?
Stugotz, I think it just goes to a misstep in how they've approached all the messaging and how they're carrying themselves after this. It's just not the way that you would do it by the book.
I don't know if there are handbooks or a by the book on our program has murder around it. Our program is relevant for the first time in forever. And our coach, even if Stugotz, he thinks that he can offer the context of, hey, it's a UFC pat down. It's not frisked by the police. You guys are misunderstanding it. I understand why your first instinct would be to defend why you're playing him. There are no incentives anywhere at Alabama basketball to not play him. The business of Alabama basketball is not a moral business. The business of Alabama basketball is make money, make us relevant. This is our best player. Tolerate what must be tolerated.
It's business.
In order to make sure that we get into the tournament and we win. We're going to keep treating this like it's college sports and they have some sort of moral responsibility to do the right things as teachers. We're going to keep treating Nate Oates as if he's a teacher. That's not somebody who's in charge of a business that needs to stay at the top of the standings.
But Dan, if you're going to say it's a UFC pat down, it's a pat down after a really bad story in which someone was murdered, someone died. You have to squash it for a game for the rest of the year.
But do you? If you think it's just a UFC pat down, and if you want Stugotz, it would be your.
Even if it's a UFC pat down, it's just you don't do this. It's
Right.
bad considering everything that's going on there contextually.
Guys, the pat down thing that we do or planning on doing, not tonight. Not tonight.
No, not ever again.
Or ever again.
And the way that we talk
that
about
is what
this
he
is going to
said.
change. And our just general attitude. Brandon, you got to keep your head down. We're going to limit media around you. Everything that we say is we're sorry about the victims' families, and this is a great tragedy. I've since been cleared. I'm trying to put it behind me. There's a way to handle this. I understand that there isn't an actual book for this, but this doesn't take a super savvy public relations expert to know how you go about this, and they keep creating problems for themselves by not handling it the right way. And I think Coach Oates is certainly worth having a finger pointed at him because he, as the head coach, is supposed to diffuse this stuff, and he's creating more distractions. And I think finally, maybe he's getting the message that the way that they're approaching this is not helping.
I have ceased to expect my college basketball leaders who aren't the ones who are being wiretapped by the FBI for crimes that weren't crimes because it's how they've always done business, to be moral, upstanding people governing education and young people. They are assassins trying to beat the other people who cheat to get to the top of the money in that sport, and some of them are not equipped to deal with any kind of controversy, never mind this one.
You think Coach K allows a pat down? Huh?
There are very few programs that have had this story around them. So I don't know who would allow a pat down and who wouldn't allow a pat down.
I can tell you Coach K would not.
The
only example I have, though, because I'm not certain Eric Musselman wouldn't. I mean,
just the only time we're talking about this story was going on, and we've only started talking about it because what they've done since. We did not talk about it. It was a major story in the world of college hoops. We're in a major national show. We did not talk about it until the reactions to this were ugly. We're not what you would do. So just based off of that evidence, a change in direction and approach, some more tact. Just someone's no longer here. There's victims in all of this. And you have to be kind of respectful of that. And if it means you don't get to stand up from a mountaintop and say, I'm innocent, bleep you and all the haters, that's fine. That comes with this. You were associated to that. Just keep your head down, say I'm sorry, and move on with our lives.
The keep your head down is such a nice touch.
I have an update on the Tom Brady situation.
What happened?
Yeah, it's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So according to TMZ Sports, Tom Brady is not pursuing a full-blown second career in stand-up
Not
comedy.
full-blown.
I'm shocked.
Full-blown, so, I mean,
Part-time.
This is what we say are conflicting reports,
Let me
Billy.
finish.
Okay.
He's in talks with Netflix to be the subject of a roast entitled The Greatest Roast of All Time.
Wow. This guy.
Mike with actual applause.
Yeah, no, that's going to be great.
That payday must be huge.
Because it's going to be Netflix, too. It's going to be massive.
Dan, you must be excited. This is the big weekend, huh? The
Yeah.
Chris Rock one.
And it's already been said that he will address the slap in this special.
Really? I saw there's a pregame and a postgame show to this special, which seems excessive.
I'm
but-
excited
much,
to see
I mean, come on.
Netflix try something live. That to me is the real appeal, the tech in all of this.
It's a perfect choice. If I were to tell you, hey, find something that Netflix should be doing live to get in the live game to that will have value, that will become a pay-per-view event. What are the things that you would choose from that would be available to you better than this one? because Chris Rock has embargoed. He has been working on whatever the material is. I don't know if he's been confiscating phones the way Chappelle and some others do.
All witness reports from his shows are he just kind of touches on it, doesn't even make a joke, says something with a smile, but he hasn't actually gotten into real material.
This is going to be disappointing, right? Like, there's way too much hype around this. Like, no one's ever wanted to hear this much from Chris Rock.
You say it's going to be disappointing, but the reason
How can it live up to, Dan, a pregame and a postgame show?
Right.
By him being that funny because he's one of the legends of the comedy game, rising to a moment that is very difficult to rise to.
He was in Grown Ups too. I mean, come on.
Fair
The
enough.
pregame show it's an awful lot of pressure to put on a comedian. You would
It's
agree,
more like
right?
just like openers. I think it's like he wants to have some comedians do some stuff so that when he comes out, you've been laughing a little bit.
Billy, I know
you want them to be bad though if they're doing a pregame.
Have you ever been to a comedy show?
No.
No, but the
You want your
postgame-
crowd to be like having laughed a little bit, in the mood for laughing.
No, that's like an opening act. This is like a pregame and
No,
postgame.
I read about
I
it though.
want
like
the crowd to save
pre-show,
the laughs for me.
the pre-show
Exactly.
is
I wanna see
a
Kurt
handful
Menefee.
of comedians.
Laughed
though.
out.
It's-
I mean,
I think Dana Carvey's doing either like the pre or post. Dana Carvey's not
Spade
gonna.
Spade and
gonna
Carvey are
rip
doing the post. The pre is
Those are
just a
two
handful
good
of comedians.
comedians.
They're not gonna rip them, no matter how it comes
What's
out.
the, what are you looking for?
They're gonna armchair quarterback it.
No, if you're doing a
I think Chris
postgame,
stumbled
right.
a little bit when he
Yes.
tried to
Tell
praise
us straight,
the-
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Break it down. That's a postgame.
if
You
you're
let that
Spade,
one-
that's what you have to do. He choked.
Gets
Right.
Do you think there's gonna be
That's right.
predictions in the pregame?
There
How do we
should
think he
be.
does?
Right.
Exactly
It
right.
should
A
be.
round table.
We're
You
doing
go
it
around.
right now.
Yeah.
We
How
are
do we gamify
I'm
this at
with
draft
Billy.
night?
James
that-
Brown's gonna be
I'm
there.
with Billy that the hype around all the Will Smith stuff. This is like there
Yeah.
is
Plus
the
the
expectations are lifted for this. Like it could flop.
I believe that what we're about to witness is fascinating because of the amount of pressure on Chris Rock to do a live comedy special that's not going to have any editing in it and Billy makes fun of Grown Ups too. There are any number you can make fun of. I didn't realize until recently that Chris Rock was in one of the Saw movies.
What?
I separate his acting
acquired the
career.
rights.
I separate his acting career from what he does as a craftsman in stand-up comedy. He's never been any good at acting. On Saturday Night Live, he wasn't any good reading or remembering cue card things.
I mean, New Jack City was pretty good.
He was
Roy's right. I mean,
but, okay, fair enough. But
Gotcha.
yeah, thank you, Roy. You're also, Roy, you got me with Kurt Menefee inexplicably shouted during the middle of
Pre-game
what
show.
what you want
Roy
from the
does.
Chris. Roy shouted in the middle of
Menefee should do
That would
one
be
or the other.
hilarious
That
if
would
he
be
was
good.
hosting
less
it,
pressure
honestly.
for Chris Rock. Yeah.
Jay Glazer in there. You know Rob Riggle's going to have
Oh,
something.
absolutely.
Riggs.
Why did you shout Kurt Menefee?
Pre-game show. Let's get James Brown in there and let's break down what's going to happen today.
JB.
There, Godfather of Soul, there is a lot of pressure on Chris Rock. I'd be scared if I were him. These guys live for the moment of having the stage, but I would.
He's got the best writers in the biz crafting this over the course of a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like
he's pretty damn funny himself.
Yeah, and he's got an audience that's just dying to hear it too. And he hasn't done anything. They're just dying to laugh at
Well,
this.
what is your best guess? What do you think? If your three choices are meh, it won't be special, or it will be enormous, or he's going to flop, which would you bet on?
He's very good at the delivering for whatever shots we can take at his acting, which I think are valid. He's not a great actor, but he knows how to own a stage. He knows how to deliver a joke. And if he and his team are launching Netflix first ever live stand-up special, he's got to have gold material.
One of the things that I love to talk about with the few stand-up comedians I know is how small a world it is to have maximum success doing that for a living, no safety net. You're going to make a career out of the hugely vulnerable thing of people expect to laugh and I will over-deliver. I'm not laughing as a surprise. They pay with the expectation you will make me laugh, funny man. And on the list of greatest to ever do it, he's on the short list. It ain't many names you're naming before Chris Rock on whatever history's people who create laughter. He's considered one of the great craftsmen, and comedy typically doesn't age well into his age bracket. And now he's trying the hardest thing he's ever done. This has more pressure
with a pregame show
than anything he's ever done, and a postgame show.
Yep. I think the real pressure is on David Spade. Like, if he doesn't deliver, are you going to rip your friend?
Yeah,
That's
have
where
to.
the pressure's at. That's
That's
really
what
do.
a post game
Yeah.
show is, Dan.
Right.
You need to be honest. X's O's.
Yeah. You think he will? I mean,
we talk about a lot of nonsense on our post-game show.
I think they'll just be funny. I think
Chris Rock?
I think
But
all
what
of
if he's
them.
not?
I think everyone there is going to be funny, and I don't think that if he's terrible, the comedians are going to turn away and not mention it.
That's terrible. They should have Mike and the Mad Dog do the post game.
That is a post game, Dan.
How did that go on First Take?
It was a fart in the wind because Tom Brady retired, so that's all they had to talk about.
Yeah.
So it was no good?
It was a fart in the wind.
Yeah, no.
Mhm. Mike hasn't been back since, I don't think.
No, I believe the highlight was Mike called Tom Brady a compiler in that appearance. But like they had to spend the whole show talking about that, so what were they gonna do, you know?
Mike and the Mad Dog quietly appeared on First Take.
Great take.
And it wasn't any good. And furthermore, it was so not good that Billy Gill feels confident calling it publicly a fart in the wind.
Well, it wasn't their fault it wasn't good. It's because Tom Brady knew it was happening that day, so he retired that morning on his iPhone, and then they had to tear up the script and just talk about that all day.
What is the next year going to look like of content making for Tom Brady, who wants his brand to be governed and fertilized by his social media team? What he's going to sell you underwear. He's going to exist as somebody over the next year. He's not going to be quiet. You're going to hear from him. He's going to sell you things. A roast is probably, what are you pointing at, Billy?
We're learning about this post-game show, and it says that guests include J.B. Smoove and noted pop culture scholar Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, wow.
That's late. He's going to be up that late?
Why is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar
an odd choice.
a part of the post game? He's not, he's not a laugh
How did he become
riot.
a pop
I've
culture
never seen him
scholar?
laugh.
Why? I don't understand why.
He was great in Airplane. I mean, he was.
Kind of pop reference.
He was in 1980, 45, nearly half a century ago.
Maybe Kareem will like bring Will Smith out, and they'll have like a moment at the end.
Well, here we go. There was an article
Oh, no.
from July 30th, 2022. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar says he believes Will Smith is sincere in his apology for slap of Chris Rock. So we know where he stands.
Two sides.
If there's prop bets on this, will Will Smith show up? I'll take a prop on that. I'm just saying, a little mending of
Little
fences
flyer.
at the end.
Yeah.
Little moment.
You're going to bet that it will happen?
If it was available, I'm sure the odds would be long. I would take a little flyer on it. I could see it happening as like a way to like mend fences.
I have a question. Again, I believe that we're skipping past in a way we shouldn't. Why is Kareem there?
Well, if that was happening, I could see he is like the middle guy. Like, come, let's love.
He's a pop culture scholar, Dan. Lou Alcindor.
I don't understand. So Roy is longing for Kurt Menefee.
Oh
as
man,
part
we should produce this pregame
Wait,
show. We
why
would do
don't
a better job.
Why don't what? You haven't even seen it yet. We do.
I'm just saying, if Kurt Menefee was there, that'd be hilarious.
Let's just not do it in Utah.
No, you
It
don't.
would be funny.
But Rudy Gay can join us. He was good. Check it on our YouTube page.
You
with full audio.
cannot be.
Hopefully, their audio is better than ours was.
You cannot, with a straight face, be saying, "Hey, I'm Seinfeld" in one breath over here, and
I
now
didn't say I was Seinfeld. I say I have some of the same burdens that he does.
Oh, my God.
and now you're saying that you could do a better pregame show.
Put together
was
one.
it
Kurt
was
Menefee
it, was
could.
it David Spade and did you say it?
That's the post-game
You didn't
show.
say it was Dana Carvey, did you? You
Yes,
said
they host a podcast together. Those two are teaming up to host the post-game show. They're calling it the show after the show. The one before is called the show before the show.
Clever.
That's what we're looking forward to, a night of those.
The pregame show will be hosted by The Daily Show's Ronnie Chang and set to include Arsenio Hall, Dion Cole, and Leslie Jones.
Can they make a decision, by the way, The Daily Show? Like, just hire someone.
Man, Chelsea's been killing.
Yeah, give it to Chelsea.
She's been the bits that she's been doing for social have gained more traction than anything I've seen from the Daily Show in the last few years.
She's funny, man.
This is going to be an event Saturday night, is it not? Netflix, this will be a success, the doing of this, because you guys haven't come up with an example for me that you can think in the hypothetical of something that I can put on television live on Saturday night that's actually available to us as a possibility. Then do you want to hear Chris Rock comment on something he hasn't commented on, that the entire pop culture sphere of people on the internet had an opinion about the moment that it happened?
Not since Triller Versus have we all been eagerly anticipating a live program like this.
It's more, no?
Than the Locks versus Dipset?
You tell me. I don't know. I would think that live programming of this, because it's not just live, it's also news, is it not? The things that he says, each of the things are going to be
You remember
news.
Teddy Riley's Versus? Oh, that was a great one. Come on. That one had more people talking.
We were all locked in the house, desperate for anyone to entertain us. Anybody. Please, let me look into my computer screen and see that there are functioning human beings doing anything. Competing at music, okay, fine.
And who was there for us? Michael Jordan.
He
And the
was
Tiger
there
King.
for us.
Tiger King was there for us too.
And Ted Lasso.
Yeah. Top
Right.
5 people that were there for us. I'm going to compile those.
You're going to
Here
do
we
it
go.
right now? Okay, here we go. Top 5 people who were there for us. It's a little ambiguous.
During the pandemic.
Is it during the pandemic? Are you limiting it to during the pandemic or just people who were there for us in general?
It has to be top 5 people who were there for us during the pandemic, I think, because we were
It's
searching
people
for
or
anything.
entities.
Okay.
Do we look back at that?
Not free weights.
Do we look back at that Doc Antle era of our show and be like, what were we doing?
Yes, of
Yes.
course. We
We
did
were
it at the
asking
time too. But we needed to talk to somebody. Yes.
Anybody.
Like 5 straight days he was on with
Yes,
us.
and all of them questionable.
Ron had to hate that.
Rudy Gobert should be
Like-
suspended for getting COVID.
Oh, he was there. He gave us something to talk about.
He left into the breach. We don't have sports content here for a while. Well, keep in mind, do you guys remember what ESPN was showing? You guys, when programming disappeared, do you guys remember the kind of shows that
Lots
were
of
on
30 for
ESPN?
30s, right? For a little bit.
A static graphic of us from and a map.
Korean baseball better be on that list.
The
great one.
So truth be told, they're on OLI.
Fantastic.
That was such a great scam ESPN pulled off, where they were able to keep all of their cable subscribers because they had a certain deal for baseball. They hadn't said which kind. So it was 4 a.m. South Korean baseball games with John Shambi calling the games from a closet in Bristol, Connecticut.
Also OLI, The Weeknd. He gave us our first exciting new music of that pandemic era, and I believe he stayed Gladbach.
Number 4.
Number 4, WWE Network. Rewatching old clips, and keep in mind, they didn't stop producing original content. So who could forget AJ Styles versus The Undertaker in The Undertaker's last match? It was a great experience.
I forgot it.
What? I have a plaque in my office that's just a little bit of dirt from the AJ Styles Undertaker match.
We thought that you were a hostage at that time, Dan, to be honest with you. When we were all working from home and you were like in some apartment and every day you were like watching wrestling and we just hear you say like, who's Bret Hart fighting in this one? And we're like, is Dan okay? Like just
Bob
blink.
Backlund.
You had to get turkey
Yeah.
from upstairs.
I mean, it was a dark time. It was a lot of
I look back at it fondly.
It was dark. It was a lot of there was so much wrestling on the screen from the 1990s.
Number 3, David Guetta.
Wow.
He was there for us.
He
Yeah.
was there every weekend.
great one, Mike.
He'd be performing from a different rooftop, sometimes dropping beats, sometimes remixing Martin Luther King and shouting out George Floyd's family.
Oh,
But either way,
Jesus.
we thank you.
Oh,
You're
God.
a pandemic king, David Guetta. And speaking of pandemic kings, number 2, the Tiger King. And number 1, the GOAT, as always,
As always.
Michael Jordan.
I'll spend all night out in Venice and make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
Get it!
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton.
Guys, Kyle Brady. You gonna shotgun a beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
Teddy Riley for me is when Versus peaked. And they've been doing fewer of them after Versus. By the way, that top 5 was presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Download the DraftKings app and use the code Dan to get in on all the action. And let me know if I forgot a pandemic king or queen.
Alcohol? Did you say that?
Alcohol. He didn't mention alcohol.
DIY.
That was mine. That was mine.
Little
Bread.
DIY situation.
Making bread.
Yeah, baking was a
bread?
thing. Cooking. Yeah. Yoga.
Also, severe depression and anxiety.
Yep.
Well, that wouldn't be.
That was on mine.
But that's not a king. This is a positive thing that helped you.
But
get
it was
through
there for you during the pandemic.
It was always there.
Anxiety
Around
and
every
depression,
corner.
they were there
Tapping
for
you
you.
on the shoulder.
It was always
Yeah.
there for you.
Yeah.
Shout out to the people that made those little things that you poked all the doors and the buttons with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you put around your finger and then you had to use that to open the door. And also the ones that made like the handles on the floor of doors that you then had to go and like get with like the heel of your foot. And every time you did it, you thought you were going to pull your groin because you're like, I haven't worked out these muscles. My leg is not built to open a door. Shout out
Also,
to them.
pulling my groin, top 5.
Shout out to hotels that had to cut back on staff and had less cleanings, and now they've just decided they're going to do that. Even though I'm not saying that the pandemic's over, but we've kind of gone back to normal life, and you still can't get your room cleaned in a hotel.
I don't know if that's a
joke.
shout out.
I made a Pornhub joke.
Yeah, who are you shouting out?
Why are you shouting? Why are
Like
you doing
fire?
Stop
shout-outs
shouting.
in
You're too
general?
loud.
I'm kind of
They're having
attacking
staffing
hotels.
problems, right.
Hey, hotels,
Right.
get
Not
back
a sh-
to
not a
But that's
shout
not a
out.
shout out.
Clean my room.
Do you not know
Yeah.
how shout outs work?
Shout down.
I can't believe I left my groceries outside.
Oh man.
Toilet paper.
Dude, I used to have indoor and outdoor clothes. And then I'd
You
wipe
did, I
down all
remember
of my
that.
groceries when I would come in. It was a whole thing. I'd have to get naked basically as soon as I opened the door every time I came inside because I couldn't wear my outdoor clothes inside. What if I sat on the couch and I had
Awkward
COVID
for your
all
neighbor.
over?
Yeah, that would be bad.
Nah, that was fine.
You
Oh,
managed
okay.
to
Dr.
avoid
Sanjay
it,
Gupta?
though, didn't you? All the extreme places that you went to make sure that you didn't get this, I felt like you avoided it more than the rest of
Dangerous
us
game,
did.
don't say it.
You were able to get less sick than the rest of us.
No, I mean I got it in December 2021. So it
that was
was
when
a
everyone
while.
was getting it.
Yeah.
Remember that Christmas?
That was Omicron. That Omicron really got in the way of things.
Stugotz, not only is Stugotz doing this with the Jets, incidentally, where he's having this hope, feel good, and then feel bad because he thinks his franchise is going to screw it up. He's doing it with his basketball team in New York as well right now. Because,
They're good.
They beat the
Are
Celtics. They beat the Celtics last night by double digits at home.
Yeah, they're good. They're on a good run of form right now. They're going to make the playoffs. They had a good offseason. That the Brunson move has been great. It seems as though it looked like the best years were behind Julius Randle, and he's tapped back in to to some good ball, you have a good team. You're going to be tough out.
It's exciting. They're 6.5 back. They've won 6 straight. Excuse me.
Fine.
No, that's not a fine.
He's getting emotional.
It's
the
not
Knicks
a
are
fine. I'm
worth
getting
talking about.
emotional. The Knicks are good once a decade, and I get choked up every time they
It
are.
is a fine for you to cough into the microphone. As good as the top 3 teams. I mean, we know that.
So hope to play the number 4 seed or the number 5 seed. Get in that 4-5, and if it's Cleveland or Miami, you can win that series.
They're in the 4-5 right now. So they're a couple of games ahead of Brooklyn, who's fading because they lost Durant. The Heat are,
The Heat are in play-in position right now at the number 7 seed. You got to think that they could catch up to Brooklyn, whose roster's different.
I'll tell you what, if they win the opening round, they beat the Cavaliers, and they have a series with the Milwaukee Bucks, and it goes, 6 games, good season.
I think it's hugely important that you get out of the first round because then you're identified as one of those teams that are close, and then the next disgruntled superstar will have you on that list.
I shouldn't have actually, when I said the top 3 teams in the East, I shouldn't have eliminated Cleveland from that because Cleveland, those
Knicks are right in that tier with them.
You think the Knicks are as good as Cleveland is? Because I do not.
I'd love to see that series. I think that's a 6 or 7 game series.
I believe that the top 4 teams in the East are a good deal better than whatever it is the 5th best team is. But regardless, I am curious because
It's exciting, though. I mean, I know you guys like to make fun of the Knicks, but the NBA, and we saw this a couple of years ago, kind of wants the Knicks to be good, kind of needs the Knicks to be good because that garden, that market, and that arena and that organization is important to the NBA. And
you're right. People keep saying this. League's been fine.
Mike, I'm emotional. They're never good. We got Josh Hart.
League's been fine. No. The league doesn't need the Knicks to be good.
No,
New Yorkers
they do.
need the Knicks to be good.
Well, that's true,
The league
too.
has been awesome over the last 20 years.
Debatable.
The Warriors, the Spurs, the Heat, LeBron. The league has been growing internationally. It's getting more and more money. The league has shown you they don't need the Knicks to be good. They don't need the Knicks, Lakers, and Celtics to be good at the same time. That's rarely ever happened for them. The league just moves on. As long as it has stars and the games are compelling, the league has proven that it'll be healthy.
All of it an excuse to bring up to the group the news I learned recently about the Knicks, that James Dolan is on a dating app.
Oh, jeez.
What?
I did not know this. I don't think I have been butt cracked, and I'm afraid.
It's just data collection for him. Be careful.
I am afraid to pronounce. Is it Raya, the dating app? Is it an elite?
Is that the famous one?
Celebrity one, yeah.
Dating app? I don't know anything about it. And when I heard that James Dolan was on a dating app, I thought that is ripe for both disaster and he's got a great deal of status, and I imagine people would want to be around his money no matter how unctuous he might be.
I can't be on a dating app, but I am morbidly curious to see what the interface of this thing is. Can someone who is single that has a Raya membership show it to me so I can just peruse?
You are afraid of getting on the dating app?
I can't download a dating app onto my phone, my guy.
It's for work.
Yeah.
Bad look.
I can't pull off the Chrs Cote. It's a bad look.
Content. It's content.
It is for work.
I mean, I guess I can open up a membership and just make sure that the headshot's like something
Bad
super
idea.
ridiculous.
I'm investigating, but there's some rumors around here that somebody on our show got rejected from the
Say
app.
the name. Just say the
from
name.
There's
Raya.
not that many single people around
Yeah.
here, so you can do the math.
All right.
Rejected because it's too high end. It's elite.
I think you
it's-
just have to have some certain status, and you can either
have
get
to be
accepted
famous.
or rejected. And
Yeah.
Please tell me more about this dating app. Please give me whatever information it is that can be gotten without Mike getting in trouble with his wife on James Dolan selling his wares. JB and the Straight Shooters is the band.
Straight shots, isn't it?
JD, excuse me. It's not JB. It's
That's
JD.
a fine.
I fixed it before
Two
you could
fines.
find me.
Yeah, there's the other fine, though.
And did I get fined for the straight shots? And what did I say? The straight shooters?
Yes, you did.
Yep. Find me, I'm going to find you.
Eye for an eye.
That's fine. I got it wrong. I got the name of his band wrong. But do you guys have
If
it?
a user screenshots a profile, the app warns them that they may be removed from the platform because they don't want anybody telling. It's basically like the chateau for dating apps.
How private?
Very private
it.
in that it knows when you screen cap.
Would you guys want to watch a dating show, a reality dating show with James Dolan?
No.
Billy will find the strangest
Nah.
places to find his reality television. He can find reality. Billy has now left the country in search of crappy television.
Yeah, Australia. Yeah. I've moved on from American reality TV for the moment, and I dipped my toe. What are you nodding your head about over there in the corner?
I just the lengths that you go to watch shit is crazy.
What is that supposed to mean?
Exactly what I just said. The lengths that you go to watch shit TV is crazy to me.
It was on Peacock. I was watching Peacock,
You
and I
just
liked
sat on
it.
his
too much
couch.
Peacock. You watch too much Peacock.
What do you mean I watch too much Peacock?
You're like, oh, that's my number one streaming service. Like, get over yourself.
It's up there. What does that even mean? It's up there. It's a good one.
Nah.
There's tiers of streaming.
Billy can like what he likes.
Exactly right. I like HBO Max is up there. Peacock's up there. Netflix isn't the top for me. Netflix isn't the top. Prime is a little bit low, especially not during Only Murders season or football season. That one takes a little bit. Hulu is the only
Keep an eye
Murders.
out for
Murders,
Apple
yeah.
TV Plus. They're starting to get good
they're
movies on there.
spending so much money.
Dude,
That's
the
one of
MLS
those-
coverage is really good.
Nah.
The MLS coverage is really good on Apple. Really, really clean broadcast, 4K. It looks spectacular.
Their Apple's offerings, money should be shooting out of your television. There is so much money in everything they're doing, and obvious money.
But now they're starting to get the weak spot used to be movies, and it was mostly loaded up with original pictures that may not be considered good enough for theatrical releases.
They are
but now they have
spending
classics.
a ton on star power, though. They are just spilling money all over the place. But Billy, what are you watching? You're not watching Apple's moneyed offerings. You're watching Australian reality
I'm
television.
watching The Traders. The Traders is a good show, Dan. It's a reality show. There was an American version of it, and I'm watching The Traders Australia. Also, because the Traders UK is also available. I haven't gotten to UK yet. I said, let me start with Australia, then I'll get to the UK. Also, this one kind of piqued my interest, but I'm not sure if I'm going to commit to it yet. The Challenge Australia is available on Paramount Plus. I may just become Australian and just watch Australian shows moving forward. And I don't think I'm that weird, because I feel like Whitty says that he watches Love Island Australia, which is probably how he found out about Raya to apply for it.
Yeah,
but I'm not
speaking
sure.
of, that was who it was. I got permission. Whitty's the guy who got rejected from Raya, and apparently you need an endorsement of
Can he
somebody.
just come across the hall?
And
Yeah,
he's
Whitty,
here.
come over
He's-
here, Whitty.
He
Just
said he
go
was.
get Whitty.
He
Get
said
Whitty.
he's too embarrassed to ask a friend, somebody of stature,
Sounds like the Soho
for an
House.
endorsement. You need an endorsement, I guess, to get into Raya.
From
Someone's
who?
got to be like, "Hey, this person's famous."
Like another member or just any person?
An endorsement. That's all I know.
Huh.
We'll get more info when he comes in.
You guys have been teasing him about his rejection?
No,
I think
why
he
would
just-
anyone?
I think he just revealed it before.
Yeah,
Get
but
here, Whitty.
there's
Get on in
nothing
here.
wrong with people trying to find love,
Tell us
Dan.
about
I
your
feel like we
shame.
shouldn't shame Whitty here. We shouldn't shame James Dolan. They're just people looking for love. What's the big deal?
They love love.
What's the concern?
What happened to you? What happened?
yeah,
What's the
so-
concern?
So I downloaded Raya with the hopes of really it was just like who's on here. It was more it was out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And if something came of it, something came of it. But so I for whatever they prioritize Instagram as their means of verification. I didn't really have a big following until I started working here. But I got like my Twitter check mark. I really wanted like them to be Twitter based, but they weren't. Yeah. So I applied, and it's just sort of been left on red for months. And it says if you get an endorsement from someone, you can get in. And there's like 7 people in my contact book from whom I can get an endorsement, but I'm too embarrassed to ask them.
Who are they?
I'm happy to do it. I mean,
You're not on the app. You're not in though.
Oh, so you have to get it from someone who's in the app.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
But why are you too embarrassed to ask them if they're already in the app?
Yeah.
Because you don't have the clout, or because you're asking
it's just
them
like, right,
to help
yeah.
me find love?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
There's just a level of like, hey, you're in this club. Can you get me in?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
That's how clubs
help
work.
me find love.
Well, they presumably had to do that of someone else. So you would think
Probably.
they'd be helpful in like
Yeah, it's a
kind of
Ponzi scheme
getting
of
other people
dating.
in. Yeah.
It is a pyramid scheme of dating. Now that I think about it, yeah. But yeah, for me, it's like, hey, I'm single and pathetic. Can you let me in?
Well, but it's famous people, right? So who's on there? Like the housewives? Like who are the celebrities in Miami that are you? Who's in the pool?
I think it's nationwide.
Yeah.
So like people. It's like some people I know that are in the sports media.
What does Raya mean? What is is it an acronym for something? Because this is. He doesn't want to do that. He has gone as far as he is willing to go in showing us the innards of his personal life. We have now
There is
dragged him-
another one. There is another one that I also am trying out too. It's called The League, where
Beautiful in every way.